Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, McNallie Money, home of all things stock, investment, and personal finance related. Now today we're going to be taking a look at a stock in the medical industry, specifically telemedicine. It trades under the ticker symbol DOC, and the company name is actually CloudMD. Now I currently don't hold any CloudMD shares, but I've been hearing a lot of good feedback about this company over the last couple of months, and I wanted to take a deeper dive. As always, please feel free to leave a comment in the section below if you're currently holding CloudMD or you're looking to get involved in this company. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. And without further ado, let's roll the intro and get right into today's video. Okay guys, so that's right. Today we're going to be talking about CloudMD Software and Services Inc. This trades under the ticker symbol DOC, so very fitting, on the TSX Venture Exchange, and also under DOC RF on the PINX in the United States. So on the Canadian side here, you can see it actually had a great day today, and at the time of close, it was up 14 cents or about 8%. So a big move for this company, and that got it up to about 191. So the interesting thing here, this is a relatively small cap company. It's sitting at just under $400 million, and it's sub $2 share price. So this was one that was trading well above that for some time, and it's actually pulled back pretty considerably. So on a 6-month chart here, you can see that this company was actually over $3. So it would have been about 50% more market cap than it is currently, just back on February 16th. Now CloudMD is interesting to me for a number of reasons, and I currently don't hold any companies in the healthcare or medical space in any of my portfolios. So this is one that I'm looking at as a potential entry into that sector. A lot of my friends have been talking about this one. It's a very popular stock, and I feel like it is truly innovative at its core, and they really are trying to change the way healthcare looks and feels for the patients involved. Now, if you scroll down here, you can see that this company up until 2020 was actually named Premier Health Group Inc. So they just recently changed their name to CloudMD Software and Services actually in February of 2020. They were incorporated in 2013, so they're about 7 years old, and they're actually based out of Victoria, BC, Canada. So as mentioned, you guys, I'm really excited to talk about CloudMD for a number of reasons. First off, this was actually recommended by one of my subscribers, so I love to be able to fulfill some of those requests for you. Secondly, I've been seeing a lot of news about this company. This is a good example of one of those articles listed as a top 3 tech stock to buy that's currently trading under 20 bucks. And the third reason is I've had a few of my close friends actually invest in this company personally. So it's always interesting for me to kind of analyze some of the stuff that my friends and peers are doing outside of the YouTube world, just to get an idea of how those investments stack up. So this is the first article I wanted to talk about. I'll scroll down here. They listed 3 tech stocks. So the first of which was Real Matters, then BlackBerry, and finally CloudMD. And they call out in here that at the time of writing, it's trading under 3 bucks. Now this stock is actually under $2, so it's an even better deal than it was a couple of months ago. And they call out a number of pretty interesting stats here. So revenue continues to come in at triple-digit increases. And they've also seen an over 600% share price appreciation in the last year. Now, obviously, that's gone down a little bit as the share price has retreated from that $3 to $2 point, but it's still very healthy growth, and this company is definitely grabbing a lot of people's attention. Now, the final point I'll make about this little paragraph here is the company has been growing by acquisition, and we're going to talk about this. They actually have a 3-phased approach to these acquisitions that we're going to go through later in the presentation here. But the key to this company is they've made a series of strategic acquisitions that have helped their overall business model come to light, and it's helped their top line revenue growth. So we're going to look at that again in more detail, but I wanted to call it out specifically here. And we're going to talk about a number of these acquisitions as mentioned throughout the video here, but this is one that just recently happened in February, so February 16th. And this is where CloudMD actually moved into the vision or eye care space, and they've actually acquired Vision Pros. So overall, this was a $60 million deal. You can see here they offered $30 million in cash and $30 million in common shares. And they also have a performance-based bonus of up to $40 million. So all in, this could be anywhere from $60 to $100 million acquisition. And in terms of what CloudMD got for that, they got their foot in the door in terms of a rapidly growing digital eye care platform that's generating $22 million a year of revenue, with EBITDA exceeding 10% of that during 2020. Now, Vision Pros has over 1 million unique customers with a highly scalable business model and a lot of synergies between CloudMD's current technological stack or platform. And because of that, CloudMD expects they can increase this annual revenue run rate to over $85 million a year. So this is a huge help to their top line, and it's acquisitions like this that have really established this company and allowed them to grow at such a rapid pace. Now, on the flip side, you could try and build this stuff from the ground up, but in industries like this, a lot of times it's easier and cheaper overall to just go in and acquire companies that are already well established, have a strong customer base, and then you can spend time, money, and resources actually growing their platform rather than building from scratch. And the reason I wanted to show this article at the beginning of the video is because as we move through their investor presentation deck, you'll see a lot of their kind of founding acquisitions happened a few years ago. And I wanted to make the point that acquisitions are still on this company's radar, and it's still an important part of their business model moving forward. Now, in terms of what CloudMD does, they're really trying to take medicine and the clinical experience and put it in the patient's hands using technology and software as a service to overhaul the way that medicine and the medical industry conducts itself. So if you scroll down on their About section, you can see CloudMD Software and Services is a rapidly growing technology company focused on digitizing the delivery of healthcare by providing patients access to all points of their care from their phone, tablet, or desktop computer. We have developed proprietary technology that delivers high-quality healthcare through the combination of connected primary care clinics, telemedicine, and artificial intelligence. So one of their initial acquisitions was actually a group of brick-and-mortar clinics. So that's where they really started. And from there, they've built their technology platform up to really transform the look and feel of this industry. Now, this slide is very similar to the last, but it does go into a little bit more detail. So I wanted to point out here, they service clinics all across North America. Although this company is based in Canada, they do have exposure to the US as well. And they currently service 500 clinics, over 4,000 licensed practitioners, and 8 million patient charts or end users across North America. And they really feel like their services are at the heart of the medical industry. So whether it's pharmacies, allied health professionals like mental health counselors, or actual medical clinics themselves, CloudMD feels like they can provide value to all of these participants in this ecosystem. Now, this slide is interesting and I wanted to share it. I truly feel like a lot of great companies are started because they're trying to solve a problem. And the problem that CloudMD is trying to fix is a broken and fragmented healthcare system. And I know whether you're talking in Canada or the United States, this is something that I hear people talking about over and over. And it truly is, in my opinion, a huge addressable market and a huge pain point, no pun intended, for a lot of people here. So the 4 issues that they specifically call out in their presentation are rising costs, so government costs here in Canada or the individual end user costs, maybe more so down in the States, have been rising year over year and are now getting to a spot where a lot of people find medical care simply out of the question for their budget. There's inefficient use of resources. So one stat they point out here, 39% of Canadians who visited emergency room indicated they could have avoided that visit if they had better access to primary care. So a lot of people are really going without basic medical care, and that's causing longer term, bigger scale problems down the road. Third point here is the supply of actual doctors. So a lot of doctors are avoiding primary care because of these other concerns with this space, and they're getting into other forms of practice, whether that's cosmetic surgery or a number of other medical fields. But primary care really isn't where a lot of these new licensed doctors out of school are focusing their attention. And then the final point is accessibility, and this kind of sums up the other 3 pretty nicely. So approximately 15% of Canadians over the age of 12 don't have a primary care physician, partly because there aren't enough to go around and partly because of the costs and inconvenience associated with this. And nearly 2/3 or 59% of seniors are unable to get an appointment if they need one on the same day or the next day. And as a result of that, about 7 in 10 or 70% of Canadians actually avoid seeking a doctor when they're sick because of the inconvenience here, the wait times, the challenges in finding a doctor, or physical barriers. And that's really a direct result of some of these inefficiencies discussed in the previous points. And because of that, healthcare costs overall are going up, and instances of major or critical illnesses that could have been prevented are on the rise in Canada and the United States alike. So that's where CloudMD comes in, and they're actually assessing this industry at over $10 trillion in terms of the medical virtual care market. And they feel like this is truly untapped. So when we talk about TAM, or total addressable market, this is one of the biggest industries, if not the biggest in the entire world. And that's what gets me really excited about this company. And the approach that CloudMD has taken is a patient-centric focus. So they're really trying to isolate those 4 key pain points with customers or patients and address each one of them individually to make the overall experience a lot more seamless, convenient, and pleasurable for the patient at the end of the day. So we saw this visual on a previous slide, and CloudMD really feels like they're at the epicenter of the pharmacies, medical clinics, and health professionals. And they believe through artificial intelligence, telemedicine, EMR, remote patient monitoring, personal healthcare record, and an integrated patient portal, they can solve a lot of these problems through their software platform. So if we now start talking about the specific solutions that they offer, this is an example of what their platform can do. So here's a few things that you'd be able to do through CloudMD. So number 1 is 24/7 real-time online bookings, and this is done through your tablet or device. You can actually review medical charts and lab results in real time. Secure chat with medical professionals over your phone. You can connect health monitoring devices to your actual tablet or cell phone to watch in real time your vital stats at home. They're working to develop artificial intelligence virtual assistants that can help with a number of traditionally nurse-driven or administrative tasks like taking patient history or triaging for the doctor. The 6th point here I think is the most exciting. So this really focuses on telemedicine, and this is allowing patients to see doctors from the comfort of their own home. So you can actually log in through video call and talk to a physician, explain your situation, and get a diagnosis without actually having to go into a clinic. And if you think about senior citizens, this is extremely beneficial for them who have maybe limited mobility or limited transportation. And then the final point here is reordering prescriptions. CloudMD has actually worked to acquire and integrate a number of pharmacies into their business model as well. So not only can you reorder prescriptions from home, but they'll actually get delivered to your house as well. So no need to go into the store. And considering the current pandemic situation we're in right now, I think this one is extremely valuable, especially for people who are already sick or needing prescription medication. If they can avoid going into a brick and mortar location or a pharmacy, that's so powerful to them to be able to avoid that interaction or that potential risk and order from the comfort of their home. So I mentioned at the start of the video, CloudMD has used a number or a series of strategic acquisitions to build up their brand and their company to the point at which it is now. So the first phase of this was actually medical clinic expertise acquisition. And this was done in August of 2018 when they actually acquired Healthview medical clinics. And we're going to look at the Healthview website in a second, but this is a chain of traditional brick and mortar clinics based in Canada that actually allowed CloudMD to get their foot in the door of traditional patient care medical clinics. And they really saw this as a way to prove a lot of their concepts and to integrate their software in an environment that they were in control of and actually test out a lot of their ideas in a more traditional clinical setting. So as it stands right now, they have 40 healthcare professionals working in these clinics, serving just about 210,000 patients a year. So they do have really good volume. And when they're trialing or testing some of these ideas, they've got a great sample size to do so. And a couple examples of that, so they took these traditional clinics and they actually integrated a number of enhanced features or improvements. So an example of that, patients obviously have their own primary care doctor, but if they wish to be seen at other clinics for whatever reason, they can actually do that because all of their health records or patient records are centralized, and CloudMD can access those from any of their locations. Secondly, we saw this in the previous slide, but they have access to 24/7 online booking, so they don't actually have to call in. It helps reduce no-shows, and people can change or update appointments very easily. And then the final point is these virtual visits. So doctors or nurses from these clinics are actually able to meet with their patients virtually, which means they're able to see more people per hour or per day, which actually increases the income for these clinics. So this is the Healthview website here, and you can see very similar to most traditional medical clinics. You can walk in, they're actually offering right now vaccination appointment for seniors, and if you scroll down, you can see Healthview really positions themselves as high-tech, interconnected clinics spread throughout the Lower Mainland. So located in BC, they've been operating since 2005, and they're really trying to push that patient experience to be the best that it can be. Now you see they're offering or advertising the telemedicine visits, the 24/7 bookings, and the 20 medical professionals we saw on the previous slide. So again, this was kind of step one or phase one of CloudMD's strategy, was to get a physical presence with a series or network of brick and mortar clinics that they could use to deploy or trial some of these new ideas that they had to improve the overall medical experience. So phase two on their journey was to acquire health tech experience through acquisition, and they did this through the purchase of Cloud Practice. So Cloud Practice offers cloud-based electronic medical records, or EMR for short, software applications for physicians throughout Canada. And there was actually 3 specific products that they were interested in during this acquisition. So Juno, which is a cloud-based electronic medical records solution, which is currently used by just about 400 clinics across 8 provinces, so well diversified across Canada. Over 3,000 licensed practitioners, 1,500 staff, and about 2.9 million registered patients use this platform. They also got clinicaid.ca, so this is a medical billing software program that processes approximately $40 million per month in payments from these 3,000 medical providers. And then finally, My Health Access is an online portal for patient appointments. So this acquisition was completed in January of 2019, and this really allowed them to start integrating some of these additional services or solutions like payment into their core platform. So Cloud Practice currently has a team of 24 people, including software developers and sales staff, and the team is really focused on building this software solution out and streamlining overall medical practice throughout the nation. So moving along, the third phase here was actually their acquisition or their step into the pharmacy space. So what CloudMD did here in April of 2019 was acquired 2 operating pharmacies, and this allowed them to get their foot in the door in terms of prescription processing and fulfillment. Now, in addition to their actual acquisition, they're also trying to partner with as many pharmacies across Canada as they can to deliver this new model or new experience. They currently have a team of 32 professionals backed by a management team of 20 years experience, and the goal here is to bring end-to-end primary care to all of their consumers. Now, how they're going to do that is through better convenience by filling prescriptions quickly and efficiently. They're allowing people to do those pre-orders at home and get prescriptions delivered to their primary residence. And this is being done through their app integration. And they're also rolling out these telemedicine kiosks in pharmacies throughout Canada. So we're going to look at those specifically in a second here, but there's a number of different ways that they feel like they can improve the overall pharmacy experience. And this slide shows exactly that. So these are these kiosks that they're starting to deploy in pharmacies across Canada. These are pre-configured health carts, and they're actually able to give people real-time diagnostics and clinical evaluations. So think of a blood pressure machine in one of your grocery stores, but taken to the next level. So you'd actually be able to walk up to this, test a number of your vital stats, and get a virtual physical examination right here in person. Now, the thing I found interesting here is they're actually renting these out to pharmacies, so they're getting that recurring monthly revenue stream, and that's continuing to grow as more and more pharmacies come online and decide to install these. Obviously, it's great for the pharmacy because they can actually get through more patients and increase foot traffic to their stores. But it's also great for CloudMD because they're able to get that recurring revenue stream that investors love to see. Now, the other thing I wanted to spend a second on here was another recent development, and they're actually collaborating with IBM, they're using their Watson platform to create a virtual medical office assistant. So they actually have identified that about half or 51% of a nurse's workload are consumed by administrative tasks that could easily be automated. And they're actually trying to find a solution here to eliminate all of that overhead work and allow nurses to focus on actual patient care rather than a lot of these menial tasks. So I think this one is extremely exciting. Obviously, as the cost of healthcare and healthcare salaries continues to go up, anything we can automate and digitize is going to improve the bottom line experience overall for the customer and for the clinic, hospital, pharmacy, whatever the case is. So this is where it gets interesting, and now we're going to actually take a hard look at the numbers. So because of these acquisitions and some of these new groundbreaking integrations and innovations this company has put forward, the revenue profile in this company is absolutely fantastic, and this is what we saw in that initial slide in terms of a top 3 tech stock to invest in. So if we take a look at gross revenue, these are in thousands. You can see in 2019 they were under $12 million, and by 2022 they're expecting to be up close to $60 million. Now it breaks this revenue down in terms of on-site brick and mortar revenue, software as a service, which would include telemedicine, and then finally partnerships, which are driven through the leasing activity of those pharmacy kiosks. And you can see they're actually expecting this to grow dramatically over the next couple of years. And if we scroll down to the EBITDA margins, you can see that the margins on these partnerships or these leases is almost 100%. So they're forecasting by 2022 to have 97% EBITDA margin for this partnership division. And that's about 3 times the telemed or software division and just about 9 times their brick and mortar on-site EBITDA margin percentage profile. So they actually call this out with our main source of revenue shifting to these higher margin businesses. The total EBITDA margin increase from 12% in 2019 to an expected 36% in 2022. So as an investor, those margins improving year over year is exactly what I want to see. And then obviously as a result of the margin percentage increasing, you can see the total margin in terms of dollars increasing as well. So 2019, they were looking at about $500,000, and by 2022, they're expecting that to be close to $20 million of total EBITDA. Now, I wouldn't be doing you guys justice if I didn't spend some time on this slide. So we talked about the total addressable market of this industry. We talked about the opportunity for healthcare and telemedicine overall. And because of that, obviously CloudMD is not the only company that's interested in this space. So they actually call out a number of their competitors in this trending slide. And they're positioning this as, hey, this industry is so exciting. There's a lot of other big players that are interested. I'm looking at it a little bit different, especially with some of these names like Amazon, which are absolutely massive companies that are interested in this industry and could provide a real threat or competitive challenge to CloudMD. Now, I feel like personally CloudMD is very well positioned, and because of those strategic acquisitions, they've got a really good base to build their company on. But I did want to call out some of these major competitors. So Teladoc, based out of the States, this is a global virtual care leader with an $8 billion market cap. Then we've got Babylon, which is actually backed by TELUS. So TELUS is traditionally a telecom company, and they're trying to move into the health space now. They're actually leveraging a mobile app as well that allows patients only in BC right now to check symptoms, consult with a doctor virtually. We then have Well Technologies. So this is relatively small as well, about a $210 million market cap. And they're really trying to consolidate and modernize the clinical experience through digital assets. Then we've got Amazon. So this is the big player here. This is the one that honestly I would be the most worried about. They've recently acquired Health Navigator to integrate with their Amazon Care platform. They also purchased PillPack for $750 million. This is an online pharmacy, and Amazon is looking to get into this space in a big way here in the next couple of years. And then finally, QHR Technologies. So they're really a leading company in that EMR and virtual care space. They were acquired by Loblaws in 2016, so one of our main Canadian grocery retailers here. And that one, again, smaller market cap, but definitely one to keep on your radar. So long story short here, it's great that this industry is attracting so much attention. That obviously means the potential and the opportunity is there. But you do need to consider this when looking at an investment like this, especially with some of these big name players. Now, on the flip side of things, a company like Amazon could very well come along and acquire CloudMD outright. So you do have the opportunity of a potential buyout there, which is great. And again, it's not necessarily a deal breaker that a lot of people are interested in this sector. It's just something to keep on your radar. Now, to close out the video, I wanted to talk about a recent bought deal. You guys know that I love these. They're a great way to get a rough idea of what the general market and investors value these companies at. So this one took place on March 9th, so very recently here. This was a $55 million bought deal, and they actually issued shares at a price of $2.70 per share. So if we look at their share price today, you can see that they're down fairly substantially from this offering price. And that again to me is an excellent sign, because I love to be able to get in on these shares cheaper than some of these big institutional offerings. So to close out the video, you guys, I'm definitely excited in CloudMD. I can see why my friends and subscribers are talking about this company so much recently. I currently don't have any exposure in the healthcare or medical field or sector in any of my portfolios. So I think this is an awesome way to get my foot in the door and expand or diversify my stock portfolio. I will be adding this one to my buy list. I think these current prices sub $2 are extremely attractive. I think the pandemic situation is really going to be a catalyst for this company in terms of telemedicine and remote medical access. I definitely believe this industry is broken. I feel like costs are getting too high for a lot of end users, and I think this industry is ripe for an overhaul or a facelift. I personally feel like CloudMD is in a great position to do that. I really like the acquisitions and the strategy this company has used over the last couple of years, and I think this should continue. Management's been able to execute on a high level, and I feel like they're now starting to really get some traction, and they're going to see the fruits of their labor start to pay off. So for those reasons, I definitely would recommend this company. I'll keep you guys posted if and when I do pull the trigger. Please feel free to leave a comment in the section below on what you think of my analysis here. If you currently hold CloudMD, or if you've got any other stocks in the medical space that you'd like me to take a look at. If you haven't already, please take a second to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, make sure you have a great rest of your day.